Hi, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Today I want to talk about how I made $1 million from archery in a couple of years. Now you're probably thinking, selling archery gear, you're going to make lots of money. I've done endless videos about the business. So what I want to talk about is how I made $1 million in the last couple of years and how I feel about it. So standing behind me is the building I bought a couple of years ago, and I did a video about this. And I did a video about buying real estate. I paid $1 million for this. It's a big building, right? So it was $1 million I paid for it. Today it's valued at 1.8 million 2 years later. Now that means my rates have gone up. Okay? So how much I've got to pay to have my business here has gone up. Hasn't doubled, but it's gone close to that. Okay? So the cost of me doing business has gone up. Alright? So how do I feel about all this? So you'll say, well, Stephen, you've made $1 million. It's great, right? And you're probably going to think it's a great thing, real estate prices going up. I think it's a really bad thing, right? I'm going to talk about it. So behind me, just here, is a car mechanic. Just there. Now, he gets pissed off at me, okay? So let's just start that off. So that building there that he's in, I valued, or whatever, when I brought it, I valued it at, let's say, around $300,000 where he operates, okay? And I charged him $200 a week rent, okay? His rent has now gone up to $300, I think I charged him $320 a week, okay? To have a mechanic there, $320. And what's happened is that building has doubled in price, okay? So his rent has almost doubled in price, and the land tax has gone up, the rates have gone up, insurance has gone up, and he gets a bit pissed off and he complains to me and says, well, you know, I should just be a normal mechanic and not have a business, okay? So I just want to talk a little bit about this and things. So when I started in a business back in my 20s, I worked 2 jobs. So I was a public servant, I was an IT person, and I ran an archery business after hours till about midnight, okay? And life was pretty tough, okay? So life was tough. So people think, oh, life's tough now. There was no fancy Apple iPhones. Life was just pretty tough. I ate sausages and stuff, right? When I say I ate sausages, it was like there was very little spare money. And I was like, I'm going to be paying off this house forever. Anyway, working the 2 jobs, I got ahead. And I'd almost paid off my house by the time I was 25 years of age. And I was like, things are sweet. Okay, and I just had my son. My son was born, and I was like, things are tracking. In 2 years, I'll be doing okay. My girlfriend at the time wanted a new kitchen. She wanted a new car. She had a job. I'm going to say equivalent job to me, which was quite good. It was quite a good job. Paid probably 30 grand a year, $600 a week. And so I brought a new car and brought a new kitchen, and then she decided she wanted to be with someone else instead, and that's okay. So she buggered off, and she took literally everything, and I'm not having a go. I sound like I'm having a go, but I had my house was pretty much paid off. I had a new car, which was paid off. I had furniture in the house, all paid off, no loans, and I thought I was doing pretty sweet. Anyway, so she decided to leave, so I basically gave her the house, all the money, all the equity in the house, all the furniture and the car, and I had nothing except for my business, okay? I had no furniture, I had no car, I had nothing, so she took everything, but I kept my business. Even though we earned the same amount of money and I paid off all the house and stuff, that's the way life works, right? So I'm 27. got nothing, starting afresh. So that was a bit of a blow. Anyway, in 2 years, I'd paid off the house, which was $150,000, and I was like, I'm cooking with gas now because I've got 2 jobs. And when I'm saying I'm cooking with gas, I'm raising a son by myself. But financially, I was working part-time. But I was running the business is doing okay, and I was like, things are good. Now, I wasn't making much money in the business. I'm going to say that again. Not making much money. And today, 25 years on, the profit margins are the same. So I make about the same now in my business as I did back then. Okay? It's just now things are a lot more expensive. My house that I paid $150,000 for is now valued at $1 million. My holiday house that I bought for $150,000 is now valued at $1.3 million. Okay? To set up a business, to buy a tin shed like this, used to be $100,000 and now it's $800,000. It means the cost of running a business has gone up. The amount of money the government takes off you to run a business has gone up. Wages have gone up. So wages have gone 4 times probably. I'm going to say, so while people think it's a good thing that your property prices have gone up, I don't think that's a good thing. I own a fair bit of property. I'm not bragging or anything, but I don't feel good about it. I don't feel good that there's been massive inflation, because I think what it does, it kills the dream for someone starting off who's 20 years old who goes, I want to buy a house, I want to have a business, I want to build something. There's no incentive now to have a business. I don't see people going, Jesus, I want to set up an archery business. Jesus, I want to have a business that mows lawns. Because what I see now is I want to be in a public service, I want to work for council, which pays amazing money, much more than you could earn working in my business. It wasn't the case before when I started. When I started in the 20s, when I was 20, you earn much more money running your own business than working for council. Right now, it's the other way around. You can't even, the concept of how much money you make working for council, if I worked in the public service, what would I be on, $200,000 a year now? What do I make here? 1/10 of that. And I've got to invest all this money. I've got the headaches of running a business, bills coming in, containers going back, shipping costs going up and down, all the costs, all the regulations of running a business, which is just a nightmare. So I want to talk a little bit about inflation. As I talk about business stuff. What causes inflation? It's supply and demand. And if you know all this stuff, and you go, well, why is all this stuff gone up? And people go, well, do you blame the government? Yeah, absolutely, I blame the government. So in Australia, we have so much building going on, so many houses being built. And you go, well, why is that? The population rate in Australia is 1.6. You need 2.2 children per female to maintain the population. We're at 1.6. We've been at 1.6 and dropping since the 1970s, but our population increases. It's increasing at such a rate, I think the number was 300,000 per year, and you're going to say, well, geez, that's not much compared to America, who's increasing at 10 million, right? Because they're letting all these people in. You've got the same problems if you're in America. We're letting in 300,000 people into Australia a year, which is the population of Canberra. We don't have housing for it. We let in, I think the number is 15% of the world's international students are taught in Australia. I think the number is 80,000 students a year come into Australia to study. I'm not even going to go at students. Come into Australia to study and they need accommodation. We don't have it because there's so many people coming in to Australia. So the Australians, if you live in the country, if there was no one coming into Australia, there'd be no need for more houses to be built. The cost of rents would not go up, the cost of housing would not go up. So all these people coming into Australia is causing the demand and pressures on housing. Now you think, well, just buy some houses, and I've had videos about this and get rich buying houses. The problem with that is the rents don't cover the cost of the loan for a house, so you're going to lose money on it. So the only reason you buy a house is you're looking for capital gains, that this is going to continue into the future, that the government's going to continue this. But what's happening is governments are going broke. I'm going to tell you this, it's like stuck eggs here, but we're building up a massive debt. Australia is a country which is massively covered in natural resources. We have everything in Australia. There's literally no natural resource we don't have in Australia. We should be the wealthy country. We were the wealthiest country in the world at one stage, as my understanding. Our level of manufacturing now in Australia is virtually zero. I live here. When I say I live here, this is where I live, Lonsdale. This used to be a manufacturing hub of Australia. We used to manufacture cars here. Literally 500 meters away, we used to refine oil. Here, we don't refine it anymore. What we do is we ship that all off to China. So our oil is now refined in Singapore and then shipped back to Australia because that's environmentally friendly. And so what we've done is we've shifted all our greenhouse gases overseas rather than produce them in Australia and feel good about ourselves, but building up massive amounts of debt. Now, this has a cost on running a business. The cost of freight, the cost of living is higher. So I'm going to just talk about costs. It used to be $3 for a pack of eggs for 12 eggs. It's now, it can be $12 for a pack of 12 eggs in Australia. We got rid of free range. We got rid of caged eggs. Whether you believe in free range eggs or not, it was a choice. We said no, we'll get rid of that. So the cost of eggs literally doubled overnight, which is okay if you're wealthy. But if you're not so wealthy, there's a cost to that. That's a cost that you'll probably struggle with. What we did to farmers, we said, do you know what, we'll buy your water off you. If you've got water rights to pump water onto your farm to make produce, we'll buy that back off you so we can ship it out to the sea. So those farms are just become deserts again. You say, well, that's okay, yes, but then it has a cost, it has a flow-on cost. And costs will go up, it causes inflation. So I'm going to start this video on me making $1 million. I haven't actually made anything. All that's happened is everything's gone up in price. The cost of wages, the cost of doing business, the cost of everything has gone up. I don't actually own more property. So this property I brought a couple of years ago is the same property. It's just doubled in price. So I don't feel like I'm richer because it's the same thing. I don't have more things. It's just worth more. Which really doesn't mean anything because it's still the same building. But what it means is for businesses, your life has just become harder. More businesses will close. It's going to sound like a thing because my business is doing fine. But think about it. Think about who you vote for with the election coming up if you're in America or Australia, because our politicians are like, look how good we've got it. Do you? Do you have it good? I don't know. Anyway, I just want to talk about that in this video. And I will talk about the profitability of my business and what's doing well in another video, but I just wanted to talk about this because moving from where I am now, like I've already filled up this warehouse. So since when I came to Adelaide, I used to operate out of a garage and then I operated out of another business and then I doubled and I doubled. Okay. So if I wanted to expand again, it's a problem because I can't now buy a place because it's all too expensive. It's too expensive for me to expand, to get bigger. So, and I want to talk about the US versus China in another video about how that works. Because it's a problem when a business which is doing okay, and we're doing okay. Like we're selling, our sales are up, we're making money, that I can't expand because it's too expensive to buy a new bigger building to expand further. So it has a problem. So anyway, I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. Bye.